Welcome back, Grief Nation listeners, to It's the Miami Night Show Grief Talk. Today, we have a very special guest. Our guest is Shirley Stembridge. So happy to have you here in honor of our second annual Black on Black Violence Healing Day. And this series is called Women Lead. So, how are you doing, Shirley?
I'm doing great today. Thank you for asking.
All right. It was so good. It's so good to see you again. Had an opportunity to finally meet you last week, but I wanted to bring you on the show for a very special talk about nonviolence and your organization and grief. So, if you could just take us through your journey for starting connecting the links for change.
Yes, it started with my grandson. His name is DeVonta Stembridge-Ford. He was murdered 2011, June 25th. It was a robbery. And during that time when that happened, I grieved a lot. And I was just saying to myself, something have to be done about this. And I was led to do the Stop the Violence, which the Lord gave me, connecting the links for change. And I've been doing it now for 12 years.
Wow. How have you seen it grow from just, day one or whenever you saw? What was the first thing that you did after, of course, you formed the business? So what was the first thing that you, was it an event? Was it a rally? What was it?
Oh, wow. I went right into it. We went from doing the event at the park to stopping the violence, to meeting with young kids, just letting them know they don't have to go that route, to letting them know to put the guns down. And we just did a whole lot of things with our youth.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we are also here. Like I said, I did have an opportunity to meet you last week. Can you just share with my Grief Nation listeners how you have been over the last 7 days?
Wow. South Fulton police say a 20-year-old man died after a shooting at Welcome All Park around 4:30 in the afternoon. This crime scene tape and police vehicles lining the area as the victim's family grieves.
We do have some information to suggest that they were involved in some sort of altercation at first. We also have received information that it might have been in reference to a young female that one of the individuals was dating at the time.
They said he is a father. They said he's a good person.
It's just sad. It brings back a lot of memories.
Marley Scott only has memories of his cousin, DeVonta Stembridge, who was murdered at just 19 years old in College Park in 2011.
We need the young people here. If they keep killing everybody off, it ain't gonna be nobody left.
Scott and this group of people couldn't believe they heard gunshots during an anti-violence event. This hearse with the words "gone too soon" was out as a young man lost his life too soon.
It's just unfortunate. What it does is show that the reason that we're here is definitely real. We're here for anti-violence, and it actually happens in our face.
Sorry for the family, for both families, because 2 lives are going to be lost here, the one that's deceased and the one who committed the crime. And violence is not the answer.
Words cannot say it. A little hurt and pain. Feeling sorry for the family that lost their loved one out in the park. But I still know that what we're doing in connecting the link has to go on to continue to tell our youth in our community to put the guns down.
Absolutely. I was thinking when I was trying to figure out, what would the conversation be between you and I just wanted to ask you throughout the last 7 days, and I want to just go over a little bit about the stages of grief, which they are not in any chronological order. They don't actually happen this way, but can you just kind of run us through that day and just talk about the denial and the shock, or either the shock of what happened?
Ooh, okay. Well, during the time of the event, everything was going very, very well. All of a sudden, there were some gunfires. And from there, everyone started scattering from the other side, saying that someone was shooting. And it was so heartbreaking because of what we was doing in the park under stopping the violence. And once they told us that a young man that was 19 years old had gotten shot and was murdered, it just crushed my heart. I can't even imagine a parent knowing their child has been shot or have to get a phone call stating their child was shot. Knock on the door, then you know that you have to go to identify the body. It was, I mean, I don't even know the words to say. It was very painful.
Yeah. And do you remember at any part within this last 7 days of feeling angry about this situation?
Daily, at this point, I just tell God, thank you that during the event, no one over or by our way got hit, harmed, that we was covered in the blood of Jesus, and basically praying for the family, that child that was murdered.
Yeah.
So I feel, I mean, I think I still feel some pain for that family. Also pain for just knowing that we was out there doing the right thing and this happened.
Yeah, that's where the frustration kind of came in, you know, because everybody, of course, was saying, now we're at a nonviolent event. How could this happen? So, you know, that anger did pop up, you know, in all of us, just the frustration of we're trying to do the right thing. Well, how does this keep happening? This is right in our turf. And how could this happen right here? You know, that when that yellow tape came up, that was kind of like enough for me, because I'm like, you know, this, how could this be? There has to be, you know, something else that's going to come for this. But I want to kind of really stick to these stages of, you know, us going through all these emotions at the time. And was there any point when you were, as we were, you know, experiencing this as it was going, did you have any, I wish I would have did this, or I could have done that, or, you know, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, that's the bargaining stage. Do you recall any of that? Or even over just the last couple of days, did you even experience that?
I can always say that I wish that I could have talked to the young man before he went into that direction of violence. Wishing that he could have just heard some of the voices that was out there that was talking about stopping the violence, where at that time that happened. So yes, I feel like if I had the chance to talk with him at that point, maybe I could have saved another life.
Yeah. Just got chills. Now, what about any feelings of sadness or depression, which is normal when you're experiencing a loss, you know, because it was kind of like we as a collective experienced this and are going through this grief process our own selves. Did you feel any of portions or part of the depression come over you from the point that it happened until today?
Oh yes, it brought back a lot of memories of when my grandson DeVonta Stembridge-Ford was killed under gun violence. So seeing a young man down on the ground, knowing that my grandson was down on the ground, other people that have lost their loved ones, and seeing the same thing, it brought back a lot of memories and hurt and pain.
Yeah. The one thing that I do remember is either you and I having a conversation earlier this week, or if it was that I saw this actually on the news of you saying this about that you're not going to stop. And I think that a part is the acceptance piece of, you know, this has happened, but yet, you know, you're still saying what?
That we have to keep going. that we need to have more support from the community. Get out there, let them know that our children need our help. And asking the community to continue to tell the kids to put the guns down.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Where does your strength come from doing all of this?
I just know within my heart that this is what I feel though that I want to do for the community and for other kids. If I can touch one child out of 100 and save their life, where my grandson was killed during gun violence, I feel though that I have done a great job.
Amen. And you are doing a great job, you and your family. Like you said, this is going on your 11th, 12th year now. And you're still showing up. You're still, people are supporting you, the community partners and the officials show up for you. So you're doing your part. I don't know what more the community voice. I just feel like the community's voice need to be a lot stronger. You're doing your part, but yet the community, and I know them seeing you continuing on, like this isn't stopping you, that's gonna, resonate with them, the parents, the children, just seeing you be able to keep on. I know that that's going to resonate with that community, and they're going to show up for you again next year, despite all of this that happened. How do you feel about that?
Oh, yes, I feel though that they will come out and it will become stronger and stronger with the community.
Now, City Councilwoman Willis has spoken out about introducing 2 new ordinances for the park safety. How does this support your initiative and in the ordinances that she's asking?
Well, she came out, she was basically speaking about the violence also when the gunshot came about, and it enlightened a lot of people's eyes, including hers. It was mentioned that from now on, when we're doing the Stop the Violence, that she will have a park only for that event to keep from having this to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I did hear too that some things that she wants to kind of put in place is adding security cams, to the park, which will be, very good for the park, just not only for events, just for safety within itself, and also making sure that the general public not bring guns into the park unless you're an officer or, so how do you feel about those 2 things that she's bringing forward to the other council?
I feel though there's much needed.
Yeah.
I feel like cameras are needed, and that will definitely help the community and will help people feel safer to go to the park.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes. When I first pulled up and I saw that hearse, with the sign, what did it say on the hearse? Gone too soon. Yeah. That touched me. It's like, whoa, this is something serious. And just for the day to play out. Now, let's be clear. This day was so beautiful. On Sunday, April 24th, Malik Hambrick, say his name, was murdered near this event in an isolated incident. And I send much love and light to his family, and so sorry that this had to happen to them. But I do want to say about connecting the Link for Change event. Now, getting rid of all of that energy that was about death, and let's talk about the life of the event. The life of the event was so beautiful, so amazing. You had some great speakers. There was family, friends, first responders, public service, local residents, elected officials, community partners. Also, you know, it was just the beauty of traditional Black culture. It was so beautiful. You know, families were there, their children were there. There was the dance team, there was the DJ and the host, your speakers, and just love and just light and just happiness, food, entertainment, fun. Just the beauty of what we, as working with the gun violence or non-violence or prevention movement, what we do, what we put all of our energy into to make this happen for the community. And I just want to keep saying that it was so beautiful. It was, there is no but to me, like, but this happened. It was a beautiful event. And I was so grateful to be a part of it. So thank you for putting all of your efforts and work into it. Because I know putting on an event that huge takes a lot of work. Can you kind of take us through your time of when you're getting ready for events?
Wow. Well, it does take a lot of work. And actually, once we and the committee all come together and put our heads together, it's a lot of footwork and a lot of phone calls, quite a few meetings together. And it takes a minute to get the event together.
But you have a lot of support, right? You have some great support, I'm sure. Yes. Now, one of these things that I wanted to talk about is grandparent grief, which is rarely discussed or shared within the family structure, just within the family structure, you know, because I know I'm a bereaved mother of losing my child initially from the initial gun incident, which was the shooting that he lost his best friend, but then 5 years later, losing him by gun suicide. But being the bereaved mother, I know how I feel. Talk to me about like the grandparent. You are the grandparent of DeVonta. How did that process play out for you? And then even to be a mother to a bereaved mother.
Very, 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 very painful. Of course, when you've been a grandmother, a lot of grandmothers hold the family together. And during the time that my grandson, DeVonta Stembridge-Ford, was killed, I was out of town, and I got a phone call, which I say nobody wants that phone call. But during the time I got that phone call, they told me nothing. All I knew, they was telling me that I had just left out of town. They said, you need to come back home. So during that time, being a grandmother, your heart started beating. You're not going to think about death. I didn't think about death. I was thinking maybe something happened, or maybe a car accident, something. I know it was an emergency. So I never found out that my grandson was killed until the next day when I got on the flight, because I made phone calls, calling my grandbaby, whatever. Once they called me, they wouldn't answer the phone. So when I finally got here, they picked me up from the airport and got here. When I seen cars after cars after cars, I just basically lost it, went to streaming, because I knew then something had happened, but I didn't know that it was my grandson. So it's words I cannot say. It's a very, very, very painful thing. Yes.
Yeah. And trying to, at the same time, still be, you know, like you said, the grandmother is the one who holds up the family and trying to, you know, be that rock for your daughter. Did you feel like at any point that you kind of mask or your own grief for her?
Yes, I did. But it was the opposite. They was making sure I was okay, but I was trying to stand up to make sure they was okay. So, yes.
Yeah. I know that's a difficult thing. And I just wish that there would be more communication on talking to grandparents about how they feel, because it's really kind of like they don't really have a space to do that when all the attention really are on the parents at the initial time, initially, over time. Yes. And of course people are asking how you're doing, but because you're the matriarch, and it's kind of like the mother is definitely like in no way, shape or form to be consumed or concerned. I mean, to be concerned about how everybody else is feeling, I'm sure. But it's just, I would definitely like to see more conversations for grandparents to be able to express their feelings about, how they have had to suppress or mask or however, but to be able to get it out. That's just opening the dialogue for us to, as a family unit, to be able to talk about, yeah, well, I felt like this too, but thank you for so much for sharing that, how you were feeling, because it needs to definitely, this topic of conversation need to definitely be spoken about even more. So what's next now for the organization?
We are getting ready to do a Stop the Violent walk in June the 18th. So right now we're just waiting to see to get our permit and to see if the counselor is going to allow us to do it.
Yeah.
So what we do, I'll definitely be contacting you and some others about it.
Okay. Would love to always be a part of anything that you're doing. I mean, from what I saw it and what I know, even going back over the years of how you have been supporting the community for years. So Grief Nation listeners, she is a veteran in the game. Okay. So if you are starting a nonprofit pertaining to nonviolence, watch her steps, because you can learn a lot. I've learned just a lot from meeting her in the last 7 days, and she's such an amazing heart, and she loves the Lord. So all of these amazing things in one, right? So now, where can my Grief Nation listeners see what you're doing, or just see some information online at?
We're on Instagram under Connecting the Links for Change.
Okay. And are you on Facebook?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so I wanted to ask you this before I let you go. What is one of the fondest memories of your grandson, DeVonta?
My grandson, he smiles all the time, and he loved music. He was an artist, and he's a family person. He's a person that loved meeting other people. He was a people person.
Yeah.
So he was a good kid. As we all say, our grandkids and our children are good kids. But, at the time that he was murdered, sometimes my kids stray away, but he was a great kid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. He's a teenager. They're learning, was he a teenager at the time? I'm sorry. How old was he? Okay. So yeah, at the time he was learning, so, as we all have, I know I have gone through several stages in my life, not knowing what I was doing, or not even being aware of the people that were surrounding me, So thank you so much for sharing that memory of DeVonta. And before I let you go, is there anything else in the community, or what you're currently working on or helping to change, would you like to bring some further awareness to for the community?
Well, like I was saying, we're doing the Stop the Violence. And also we do different things with the community on the Stopping the Violence. We does like the trigger trunk, safety awareness, and we also do things for Christmas for our youth, and other things. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Miss Shirley, thank you so much for being on It's the Miami Night Show Grief Talk. You are a part of this amazing day for me. You know how when we make plans, they say God laugh. Well, I have been working towards an event for this day for since January broke in. Actually, we are actually doing a documentary on my son Tyke and his best friend Keandrick. And I learned that, you know, just because I'm ready, everyone else is not ready that needs to be a part of this, you know, documentary, which is like his family, his father's family that lives in Florida. And so at the time, you know, we were saying, okay, it's going to be done by today, you know, it's going to be done. But no, it wasn't time for that to, you know, to be done. We're still waiting on other individuals that would like to come forward and have so much to say, and, you know, sending their love and light to Tyke and how instrumental that he was to them. So we're going to wait until it's time and complete that project. And there was another project that kind of fell through, but when I called you, you were like, okay. So I'm like, thank you. Yes, because I still want to showcase that we are, no matter what, if my lane is the Grief Talk podcast and mastering spiritual healing and you know, supporting the community with grief awareness. And then your lane may be X, Y, and Z, but we're all in this together to try to support, you know, and help each other with stopping this violence against each other. Right?
Yes.
So thank you so much once again. And I look forward to working with you at any time. So have a good day. And thank you once again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Grief Nation listeners, and thank you for tuning in to another transformative segment on It's the Miami Night Show Grief Talk. Today, we give thanks filled with love and gratitude to our special guests for expressing your very unique grief journey and sharing ways of understanding the healing process. This is your girl, Miami Night, with much love and light until we connect again spiritually. Bye-bye.
Slow-mo. He's got me walking that grief walk. Going slow-mo. He's got me talking that grief talk. Going slow-mo. He's got me clocking the way.
It's the Miami Night Show.
Hey, yeah. Slow-mo. He's got me walking that grief walk. Going slow-mo. He's got me talking that grief talk. Going slow-mo. He's got me clocking the way.
What up, tribe? It's Miami Night Show Master Hair Coach. Welcome to the Miami Night Show. He got me walking that grief walk. It's time for Grief Talk, y'all.
I talk about things you think about.
It's Miami Night Show Master Hair Coach.